Alright, good morning from the Steamship Virginia V for another shipyard vlog. Today we are over on the starboard side of the ship where that fungus has been getting pulled out because the shipwrights have found a bad frame or pair of frames that need to be replaced. I'm looking at this ugly one here right now. The Futtock next to it has already been ripped out, but we will be following the construction of a replacement of this one that I'm looking at right now. You can see it's pretty gross. And we'll get to see the fabrication of a Futtock from start to finish. So what's happening right now is that the angles or bevels of the Futtock are being measured. These Futtocks are not square cut because the ship is curved. All of the surfaces of the ship are curved. So it's important to get the correct bevel when these are cut. And the best way to do it is to, of course, measure the original or measure the one next to it and then copy down all of those angles so you can cut the proper bevel into the new Futtock when it is fabricated. And now we get to rip the old Futtock out. It's not a good sign when you don't need the crowbar.
Oh, okay. That'll get more fun.
Or a bent nail.
This? I think these are epoxy.
Oh, it's epoxy?
Yeah.
Very old epoxy.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't use epoxy. That looks like a disgustingly rusted bolt.
It is. Unfortunately, it's going to the inside, so we'll see.
Yeah. So this bolt terminates inside the ship on the other side of the ceiling. So I'll just have to go inside the ship and down into the hull and the engine room to get to the other side of it so we can pull it out. Here it comes.
Yeah. Alright, can you just pull it through from there?
Probably.
Yeah, there she goes. Yep, it will.
So as the bad frame is being torn out, it turns out that it's bad much further down than originally anticipated. That unfortunately means that a couple of more hull planks are going to need to come off just to get access to this work area. There's nothing really wrong with these hull planks, but we can't get to the bad frame with them in the way, so they'll just have to be removed. Right now, the shipwright is just chipping the cement out that's used to cover up the hull bolts, so the bolts can be pulled.
This frame to slide in the new bit.
Okay, so whole plank coming off to get better access to the bad frame.
Yeah, this one may or may not come off.
Okay.
I don't have much regrets about this one. It's starting to look a little old, but...
Yeah, but taking the through holes out is a pain.
Through holes in the next plank up. I just have to take the zinc off.
Okay.
So that
You didn't even need to cut it.
I know, right? And if I hadn't cut it, I'm sure it wouldn't have come out that easy.
Eventually, the terminus end of both of these planks were reached. We can't replace just a single small section of a plank. You need to tear out and replace an entire plank at once because we don't want any lengths on the hull less than 15 feet.
That's the end of it.
Once we have access to the bad frame and it can be completed being taken out, then the making of the pattern can start. So to make the pattern, we're cutting out small little pieces of patterning lumber and going to be carefully crafting a sort of outline of the Futtock that was there. We're using the frame next to the one we're replacing as a template. It got replaced earlier off camera. So by basically just tracing this frame with these scrap pieces of lumber, we can create an outline of the frame that can be traced onto a replacement piece of timber.
You know, nobody should be under any illusions about the water temperature. But still.
Yeah.
There's lots of people on those boats doing things they had no business doing. It seemed very normal at the time, but in retrospect, stuff just doesn't work so well.
So once the pattern is all completed, it is taken out of the ship and is taken over to the woodshed. So the shipwright will identify on a good-looking piece of wood for this project, and it will be cut to size. So these numbers right here are the bevels that were measured earlier. So this pattern will be cut out with either a bandsaw or a skill saw, both of which can be adjusted to cut at an angle. So each cut will be made at a different bevel depending on the recordings that were taken earlier of the original frame.
life. That can be yours for $20 a month or $240 at the sustaining donation fund. I'm Nikhil Sarma, and some very exciting developments have happened. I did the member match last hour match. Larry in Seattle was so inspired by that effort. He was like, okay, not even halfway through the hour, and people have stepped up to the plate, but he has upped the ante in a big way. Why don't you tell us what's going on?
I'm bursting at the seams to tell you this news. He is going to triple your gift for the next hour. It's a triple match. That means if you make a $100 gift right now, it's going to become $300.
The final challenge is going to be getting back out to the ship and getting this Futtock into the place it goes. Even with a few hull planks removed, it's a very tight fit, and it did take a lot of maneuvering and a lot of finagling to get this into place, which I did not record because it did take a while. So instead we're going to cut to the next morning after the Futtock was successfully inserted into place, and then it can now be actually mounted into place. So it's just getting legged down with those 1/2-inch leg bolts. We can drive them in through the bolt holes of the planks that are still there. And of course the new planks will also be legged into place. And then the two frames here are legged together as well. Once the new frame is nice and secure, hopefully we'll be able to start putting new wood here on the port side. We'll be able to replace the covering board and all that, and then putting new hull planks over this hull will be sort of the last step.
Shipyard on Bainbridge.
We did have to cut this Futtock a little shorter just to get it into this hole. So a wedge of wood has been driven in on top to replace what was very carefully trimmed off.
That's the idea.
That's what I'm getting.
Yep. I mean, it's pretty much almost all the way in there. Yeah.
And then that is good. Rather than boat sauce, the end grain of that little piece is just getting coated with some shellac to help preserve it and keep stuff from getting into the end grain. And this Futtock is completed. That is the making of a Futtock from start to finish. So, thank you for coming and watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get alerted when new videos come up. We've got lots more work to do on the Virginia V.
And it's relatively non-toxic, which...
Well, it's made out of beetles, so...
Yeah, it's like bug poop and alcohol.
You can support our work by visiting our website, and we hope to see you next time.